Let's be real. In business today, the biggest battles aren't for market share, they're for people. The fight to attract and, more importantly, keep your most valuable employees is a full-blown war. And losing your best people, it's not just a setback, it can be a catastrophe. So how do you make sure your company comes out on top? Well, let's break it down.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what this talent war really is. Then we'll dig into why it hurts so much to lose your star players. After that, we'll talk about your #1 strategic weapon, lay out 4 specific tactics to win, and finish with one simple question. Are you ready for this fight?
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the 21st Century Talent War. And believe me, this isn't just some catchy business buzzword. It's a very real, very fierce competition for the one resource that truly matters: people.
And hey, don't for a second think this is just a Silicon Valley problem or something that only big corporations deal with. The research is super clear on this. Companies of all sizes in all industries are in this fight. Whether you're a tiny startup or a global giant, you're competing for the same pool of extraordinary talent.
So winning this war, it's like a multi-front battle. It's not enough to just attract great people. The real challenge, the part where most companies fail, is keeping them, especially when you know your competitors are calling them every single week trying to lure them away.
You see this play out in the sports world all the time, right? Think about when LeBron James left Cleveland. It wasn't about the money, it was about having a better shot at winning championships. Or when Albert Pujols left the Cardinals because he wanted more commitment from the organization. The fallout for the teams they left behind? It was just disastrous. After LeBron left, the Cavaliers' winning percentage completely cratered, from nearly 75% down to 23%. Losing one person was devastating.
But look, while the sports headlines are flashy, the exact same drama is playing out quietly inside offices and on Zoom calls every single day. The stakes are just as high, even if they aren't being debated on national TV.
I mean, take a look at the classic corporate rivalry between Facebook and Google. For a while there, Facebook was on an all-out talent raid. And get this, for every one person who left Facebook to go work at Google,
A whopping 15 employees left Google to go work for Facebook. 15! This talent drain got so bad that Google had to give a blanket 10% raise to its entire staff just to stop the bleeding. Now that is the talent war in action.
Which brings us to Section 2. Why does losing your stars hurt so much? Well, why did Google freak out? Because the value of a top performer isn't just a little bit more, it is on a whole other level. So let me ask you, think about your own company. Are your best people just kind of above average? Or are they in a completely different league? Yeah, the research is pretty clear. It's the second one.
You know, we're always taught about the bell curve, right? The idea that most people are average with a few low performers and a few high performers. Well, it turns out that's a myth. The reality is something called a power law distribution. This means most people actually perform below average, and a tiny group of elite superstars, they drive almost all the results. Your company's success rests on those vital few.
Let's put some hard numbers on this. Take just the top 1% of your workforce. They produce a staggering 10% of your company's total output. 1% of the people are doing 10% of the work.
Okay, but it gets even crazier. Now look at the top 5%. They're responsible for more than a quarter, 26% of your entire company's productivity. Think about that. That's why when you lose one of these people, you're not just filling a role, you're losing a core engine of your business.
And the damage goes way beyond just productivity. First, there's the financial hit. It can cost up to 2.5 times their salary just to find a replacement. Then you've got the social cost. Morale takes a nosedive, and the rest of the team gets burned out picking up the slack. And worst of all, you might never find someone who can truly fill their shoes.
All right, enough of the doom and gloom. So what do you do about it? This brings us to Section 3, your strategic weapon. It's time to completely rethink performance management. This is not just some boring HR task. It's your single most powerful tool for keeping your best people.
And the big mindset shift is right there in those first 2 words, a continuous process. If you want to win this war, you have to kill the once-a-year performance review. It's dead. Instead, it has to be this ongoing conversation, a cycle that keeps your team locked in on the company's biggest goals. And this structured 6-step cycle is what makes it work. It turns what was a one-off meeting into a real system for growth and improvement, where each step builds on the last, keeping everyone on track and getting better.
Okay, so with that system in mind, let's get down to brass tacks. We're going to walk through 4 research-backed tactics you can use right now to keep your stars from walking out the door.
We're talking about creating individualized plans, making sure the work is challenging, showing a clear path for advancement, and of course, rewarding people properly for their contributions.
All right, tactic number 1. Your top people, they hate one-size-fits-all. They want a path that's built for them. They want to learn, they want to grow, they want your attention. And that's exactly what Individualized Developmental Plans, or IDPs, are all about.
So yeah, IDPs give your stars the mentorship they crave. But here's the secret strategic sauce. When you help them develop skills that are specific to your company, you're creating what's called firm-specific human capital. Basically, you make them so valuable inside your walls that your competitors can't easily replicate that value. It makes them almost poach-proof.
Tactic number 2 is a big one. It's about the work itself. Your best people aren't just chasing a paycheck. They need a challenge. They need to feel engaged. They need to know their work actually matters.
There's this great concept called job sculpting. Here's a real-world example. A top analyst, let's call her Carolyn, got a huge raise, but she was miserable. Why? Because what she really wanted was to manage people. So her boss, instead of just throwing more money at her, actually listened. They used a performance review to reshape her job into a player-coach role. And the result? Carolyn was happy and her team's productivity went through the roof.
Okay, tactic number 3. This one's critical. Your stars have to see a future with you. If they look ahead and see a brick wall, they're absolutely going to start looking for the exit. A clear path for advancement isn't a nice-to-have, it's a must-have.
I mean, it's one of the top reasons high performers stick around. So use your performance management system to make that path tangible. Don't just vaguely talk about the future, show them the next step. Spell out exactly what skills they need to get there, and then build a concrete plan to help them do it.
And that brings us to the final tactic, number 4, and it's about the money. You have to reward your stars in a way that matches their massive impact. We're talking about contingent rewards.
Remember that power law thing we talked about, where the top 5% create way more value than the other 95%? Well, it makes 0 sense to reward them equally. And let me tell you, the research is crystal clear on this. Nothing will burn out a star faster than seeing their mediocre colleague get the same reward for a fraction of the work.
Your top people have a finely tuned sense of fairness. Researchers even have a term for it: justly earned entitlement. They know what they contribute, and they expect to be compensated for it. So your pay system has to reflect that reality. We're not talking a tiny bit more. Their compensation needs to be significantly higher, with the potential to go even higher as they keep delivering.
Okay, so we've laid out the battlefield, we've talked about the high stakes, and we've got a 4-part battle plan. Now for the most important part, turning all this talk into action.
So, here it is, your call to arms. The talent war is real, and losing your stars is a disaster. Your business doesn't run on average. It runs on the few outliers. And your best defense, your best weapon, is a smart, continuous performance management system, one that treats your stars like individuals, gives them real challenges, shows them a future, and yes, pays them what they're worth.
Which leaves just one last question, and this one is for you. When you really look at how your company treats its best people, are you just playing defense? Are you just going through the motions? Are you truly in it to win?